of Fame voter Jason Coley joins us now. Jace, how you doing, brother?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Do you agree, Jace, that the Seahawks, if you had to put it in the last 20 years, maybe one of the more unimpressive football teams that you've seen win the Super Bowl is this Seahawks team?
I'm trying to think here. The Giants team, if you go back and you look at the regular season, probably the second one, not the first one. The second one was weaker than the first one. The first one had guys up front, like a lot of guys who could play. Strahan, and they were six deep in pass rushers. Kiwanuka, Yura, Tuck. Other guys.
Strahan was on the first one, right?
Strahan was on the first one, was not there for the second one. They did a really nice job in the second one still, but I would say the first one was a better team. I would say they're about the same as that. Eli Manning is probably a better quarterback than Sam Darnold, especially in big games. I mean, he was required to make some big throws, and Sam didn't have to make any big throws in this last game. So it's hard to judge on that one. This game was kind of put away. It was put away by Drake May's failure to perform. And if you go back before that, I'd say that Tampa team under John Gruden was also a really great defense. I think a better defense than this Seattle team. But the offense, I think this Seattle offense is a little bit better than that Tampa offense. So they kind of even out. So you're going back 25 years. And that Ravens team, there's certainly a better offense than that Ravens team, that the first one with Ray Lewis that won. But the defense, I mean, come on, that's one of the two or three best defenses. I would argue that Ravens defense was actually better than the Bears in '85, but that's me personally. That's just a matter of taste.
Do you agree that if you're going to make a comparison on Sam Darnold, that Sam Darnold would probably be, and I talked to Brad Johnson this morning, and I'm really good friends with Brad Johnson. He's a better version of Brad Johnson.
Oh yeah, he's more gifted than Brad. I mean, Brad was cerebral, tough, but Sam can make a lot of throws. I mean, Sam can make throws that Brad Johnson couldn't make. Do I trust him to avoid? I would trust Brad Johnson to make fewer mistakes than Sam Darnold, even to this day. So the sum total is probably the same. But if you just want to go on physical talent, like if you went out and did, pass, punt, and kick competition with just the throwing part of it, and had those guys line up, I mean, Sam Darnold, he laps him up and down the field in terms of arm strength.
Do you agree that you don't have to have an elite quarterback to win Super Bowls?
Once in a while. Most of the time you need to have an elite guy. Last 25 years, if you didn't have an elite guy, you better get really lucky, and a guy better get really hot, like Nick Foles, Joe Flacco. Other than that, there's not. This is the Breeze, Manning, Breeze, Brady era was pretty substantial, right? You had to have a special guy. This is a downturn in quarterbacking, so maybe that door is opened up. But I kind of get the feeling you're going to have Burrow back. I think Lamar Jackson is going to return to form. Josh Allen is still there. Mahomes is going to get healthy. Things are going to get a little bit better next year. This was an odd year where a lot of guys just fell out.
I'm going to ask you a question because I'm going to ask everybody in Philly. I was going to save this, but I'm going to ask you. So there's a conversation right now going on in Philadelphia here, and they've changed the entire coaching staff out. Obviously Jeff Stoutland, him leaving, and I talked to Adam Kaplan, and Adam Kaplan said that he was demoted, and Jeff Stoutland did not really appreciate some of the conversations that were going on with his demotion, and that's why he basically quit. They hire a guy who's more of a West Coast guy. With all that being said, this offseason, would you extend Jalen Hurts?
No. Pretty firmly, no. I think the first extension was good. I think that, again, you bought him off for a number of years, but now we're now, and he rubs enough guys on the team the wrong way that he's got things. Did you lose for?
Yeah, just a little bit. Can you repeat that, Jace? Go ahead and repeat that. Why you wouldn't extend him?
I would not extend it because I think he's rubbed enough guys the wrong way on the team, and he needs to prove that he can evolve as a player. Some of the things that he's done during the regular season, they're starting to catch up with. But the bigger thing is, like, can you keep a guy like AJ Brown on the same page with you? I mean, yeah, that's your job as a quarterback. Like, the coach is there, but you got to make that guy understand he's part of the equation. You got to feed him somehow. You got to make him understand he's important to you as a quarterback. And I think that Jalen Hurts, especially a guy like Jalen Hurts, who's a limited passer, you need all the reinforcements you can get. And I think that I wonder if Jalen has sort of bought into his own BS a little bit.
Fair enough. And I'll ask you this. Don't you think these dual threat guys have a smaller ceiling than guys who are pocket guys? Because once you stop running, which he did and which he has, like you said, he's not an elite guy from the pocket. He's not going to win games from the pocket there. And this is what they're trying to evolve now. And to me, if you're changing the offense, I mean, you might as well change the quarterback out.
Well, I would ride it out for a little while. Like, I mean, he's good, and he's had two spectacular Super Bowl. He is good, and you don't want to just don't throw out the baby with the bathwater just yet. I mean, you want to see can he evolve. Do I have doubts about that? Sure, I have doubts about that. Do I? But you don't just throw a guy to the side. In this situation. I mean, that's a fantasy football kind of conversation. Like, this is a real football discussion that has to be had. And are the odds against it? Sure. But what are you going to replace him with? I mean, there's nothing out there. What do you think you're going to get?
Yeah, but Jason, I just watched a guy win a Super Bowl who was on 5 teams.
Yeah, but he was still a first-round pick. He's still talented.
You think that's an off, right?
Yeah, I think it's a one-off, and I don't think it makes you very consistent. I want to see if I want to be consistent with my quarterback play. More often than not, you're not going to have a year again where Joe Burrow gets hurt, Lamar Jackson gets hurt, Patrick Mahomes gets hurt. Everybody who's supposed to be good. San Francisco loses 2 key players. Philadelphia kind of falls apart and is not very good. Like, that doesn't happen very often. And then you get on a roll. I mean, look, in the fourth quarter of that game between Seattle and the Rams and the second one in the regular season, everybody's sitting there going, oh, the Rams are going to roll here. They're the best team in football. 8 minutes and an overtime later, Seattle pulls off a miracle and they get on a roll. And here's the other thing. Defensive teams don't last. Okay, they don't. Look at the history. They win one title, and here's my theory on defenses. It's great to have a really good one. You want to build a great one. Sometimes it can cover up for lack of a quarterback. And everybody says, oh, you don't want to spend on a quarterback. You'd rather spend on defensive guys. Keeping a defense together is more expensive than building around one quarterback because you got to pay 4, 5, 6, 7 guys premium wage rather than paying one guy premium wage and then surround him with other guys. So in the long run, it's better to build around a quarterback. You're more consistent for a longer period of time. You play a more consistent offense. That's why, the Bradys and the Mannings and the Breezes, those guys make their teams competitive every year. A good defense, they last until those guys start to break down. And they usually break down really fast. That's how it happens.
So for you, you're looking at, look, like you said, Jalen's a good player. Build around him. I mean, because what you're saying, right, the mistake that Brandon Beane's making in Buffalo is that you got a sensational guy and they're not building around him. They're leaning on the quarterback to have to carry that team on a week-to-week basis. And theoretically, it's not working.
They tried. It's not working right now. I mean, like Diggs, fell out of favor and Keon Coleman hasn't worked out. The two tight ends are okay, but they're not what they expected them to be. Obviously, the running back is terrific, okay, but and the offensive line is solid, not great, but nobody's offensive line is that good. You got to keep replenishing that along with drafting guys on defense who can run. Like if you have a quarterback like Josh Allen, you want to play higher scoring games where you're gambling on turnovers, forcing turnovers by your defense, blitzing a lot. Don't play bend but don't break. Make sure that you're going full throttle all the time. There are some ways to play for that team, and I don't think they've quite figured it out. Look, they're probably one play from being in the Super Bowl, and I would argue if you put Josh Allen against Seattle, I think he plays a little bit better than Drake now.
Yes, okay. Yes, I would say, yeah, I would think he plays a little better. Couple more questions for you here, Jace. You think Clint Kubiak does anything in Las Vegas, or is that just because of the owner? It's just never going to happen there. I mean, I know they're going to probably get Fernando Mendoza. Do you see Clint Kubiak going there and doing anything?
I hope so. I hope for him, because I've known Gary for a long time, and you want guys to succeed. I would feel better if Tom Brady was in the building every day, because I think that Mark Davis does more to undermine the authority of his coaches than to help.
Are you a fan of Spytek? Are you a fan of Spytek, the general manager?
He's fine. I mean, the problem with him is not. It ain't the bishops and the pawns and the knights and the and the rooks and it's the king. The king is the problem. Okay, the king is a foof. Okay, and he's too buddy with the players, and just like Al was at the end of his career, he lets the players get away with too much. Like Max Crosby had a direct line to Mark Davis, so anytime Pete Carroll wanted to do anything, Max would just call Mark and get his way, right? I mean, it's just not. It's a dysfunctional place, and you need to have Tom there to look at Mark and say, Mark, back away from doing that. Go pay attention to how you run the team. Go pay attention to how you make money. You have to keep a certain distance between yourself and the players. That's how you manage a team. You can be friends with the players, but they have to know that the coach has authority. And in Las Vegas, they don't. They just don't. And look, Pete was there just cashing out too, but that's a different matter.
All right, so I got to tell you, when you were on my morning show the other day, I got a call from Michael Irvin, and Deion Sanders heard the interview, and he made a comment saying that we need to have players voting for the Hall of Fame, and all you guys. And I told Michael, listen. So I text Deion, and I said, listen, dude, you don't watch the games. You don't really look how you guys. It's been a lot of heat on you guys. I mean, have you heard if any changes are coming, or what have you made about all the backlash that you guys took on not having Belichick or Kraft in the Hall of Fame?
Well, I mean, I think some of it's deserved. We didn't vote in Belichick. Now, Kraft, it's that's a numbers game. That's a tougher one. Okay. And the system is not functional, but that doesn't apply to Belichick. We should have put Belichick in. That's our fault. And we got to take the blame for that. And I voted for him, and I understand some of the people's arguments for not voting for him. I disagree with them. Again, as I've told you a couple of times, he was the best person on the ballot, whether you're talking about the 5 or you're talking about the 15, all 20 people, he was the best guy on the ballot. And the cheating is overrated. But for players to come in and want to swoop in and say, oh, well, we need to, you got your own favorites too. And here, I would tell Michael and Deion to their face, and you can relay this message. If it were up to Hall of Fame players, T.O. still wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. All right? Because they hated that guy. They take out grudges. Here's another bit of information. I told you this the other day. Look at the Baseball Hall of Fame. Look at what happened last month. Jeff Kent, good player, really good player, good power hitter, especially for second base, made it to the Hall of Fame. Who were the guys that he jumped? Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Gary Sheffield. And that panel of people was who? Executives and former players. The players are much more harsh than the media. And so Michael and Dion can go and shout all they want and cry all they want, all that. The players are just as bad as the media. Okay? It's all a human process. And fully admitting we should have put Belichick in. And we will put Belichick in next year. I mean, it'll happen, right? But don't tell me that, you have to have played the game. Because I know for a fact Dion didn't watch. And I mean, like Dion's famous tweet at Kevin Byard. He didn't know who Kevin Byard was. That's an all-pro guy. I mean, come on. I mean, just stop. If you want to criticize us for not putting Belichick in, fine. But understand the whole system and understand that all of you guys, and Dion's at the head of that line because he's public about it, want less guys in the Hall of Fame, not more. Why? Because it's their own private club, and they want it to be as exclusive as possible. This is just like living the high life in Miami back in the day from Michael or whatever Dion did in Tallahassee.
Oh, yes. I will make sure I
quote me on that one to Michael. Because he'll probably laugh at that. So.
Michael will. Dion will probably block me again. So I mean,
whatever.
He's getting very upset with people because he goes, hey, I heard Jason Cole saying that I'm out of line. I go, I don't think he said out of line. I think he just said I don't think you get it. And I told Michael I agree. I know the work you put into it. I do. I know the work you put into it.
I work really hard, and I'm not saying I know more about football than those guys. I would never ever dare say that, but I work at it. If you're going to do it, work at it, and that's what the guys who are going in deserve. And
Absolutely.
As far as the changes, we'll see. They may get rid of the whole panel. Who knows? I don't. Frankly.
I hope
if
not.
that's it for me, I don't. If that's it for me, I don't care. It's theirs. I don't own it. It's their system.
Why would they ever do that? Jace, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Be good.
You got it. That is Jason.